In the warmly heated chambers, she didn't notice the change in the weather. The king was supposed to hunt all day long, but his plans were disrupted by a torrential downpour. Joanna couldn't know this, and the servants hadn't had time to warn her. She had dismissed all her ladies in waiting when William de Braose came to visit. It was then that her husband found Queen Joanna with him. The year was 1230. Joanna was the illegitimate daughter of King John of England and Lady Agatha Ferrers. She was born from a brief romance, and since nothing was heard of her mother afterward, there is a theory that she died during childbirth. The grieving father entrusted Joanna to a monastery in Normandy for her upbringing, but never missed an opportunity to inquire about her well-being. Soon after, John married the stunning Isabella of Angoulême, and around the same time, Joanna's fate was decided. Her hand was sought for the Prince of Gwynedd. Here, a clarification is needed. Gwynedd was a kingdom in the north of the British Isles, traditionally considered Celtic. It bordered the Irish Sea, with its center in the town of Carnarvon on the shores of the Menai Strait. At various times, the rulers of Gwynedd were either in conflict or in alliance with the rulers of England, and when John took the crown, the policy of the Celtic descendants was aimed at peace. A marriage was to be the cornerstone of good neighborly relations. The prince's name was Llywelyn ap Iorwerth, and he was nearly 16 years older than his betrothed. Joanna was brought to Carnarvon as a 5-year-old child, betrothed to the heir of Gwynedd, and they awaited her coming of age. Children born of love often turn out more beautiful than others, and Joanna grew into a true beauty. Now King Llywelyn could hardly take his eyes off her. Slender, graceful, with flawless features and a charming smile, she was a magnificent queen. However, not everyone was pleased with her presence in Gwynedd. While Queen Joanna was growing up, all of Llywelyn's affections had been directed toward a certain lady named Tangwystel. The favorite even bore the king 2 children, a daughter and a son. But now, that woman had fallen out of favor. Joanna gave Llywelyn a legitimate son, David, and she also helped mend relations with the new English king, Henry. But, oh, the misfortune! The beautiful queen was utterly indifferent to her husband. Rumors began to circulate that, in Llywelyn's absence, Joanna entertained certain knights. Tangwystel was one of those who helped spread the rumors, but the king of Gwynedd merely brushed them aside. After some time, he contemplated a marriage alliance between his son David and the daughter of the influential William de Braose. The prospective relative was invited to Carnarvon to discuss a possible betrothal. Queen Joanna and de Braose had seen each other several times before. Whether they had a relationship prior to that year remains unknown, but during that period, everything fell into place. The lovers tried to be discreet, but they made one critical mistake. One day, while King Llywelyn was away hunting, they met at Joanna's quarters. As fate would have it, the weather changed and Llywelyn fell ill, forcing him to turn back. William de Braose was thrown into the dungeon, and the queen was locked in her own chambers. Soon after, the knight was executed, and the daughter of the English king was sent to one of the remote castles. Interestingly, this did not affect Llywelyn's marriage plans at all. The union between de Braose's daughter, Isabella, and his own heir, David, was arranged in due time. The widow didn't even protest her husband's death. Everyone seemed satisfied. After spending a year in confinement, Joanna wrote so many letters that she earned her husband's forgiveness. She was now as meek as a lamb and even accompanied Llywelyn on his trip to London. Their relationship, if not restored to its former state, was at least far from hostile. 5 years later, the unfaithful queen passed away. She was buried on the island of Anglesey, but in the 16th century, Joanna's tomb was looted. There is a legend that her coffin was discovered during the Victorian era and used as a water trough for horses. However, during Queen Victoria's reign, there was such a fascination with all things medieval that many legends were often invented out of thin air. So this particular tale could very well be a fabrication.